Good morning, students. Today we are going to do second part of our lesson 2, the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. So let's start from the bullet point number 2, as you can see on your screens. If you don't have books, please just pause the video for a while and bring your books and pencils so that you can take notes while we read the chapter. See, some pictures are shown on your screen. Last picture in the corner is of Ustad Bismillah Khan, and when we think about Shehnai, just one name comes to our mind, that is of Ustad Bismillah Khan. He is considered the most famous Shehnai player in India. Rest of the pictures you just can find out from Google, the names of these maestros. So let's begin with the bullet point number 2. Think of Shehnai and the first thing that you'll probably imagine is a wedding or a similar occasion or function. The next would probably be Ustad Bismillah Khan, the Shehnai maestro, playing this instrument. Means when we think of Shehnai, two things come into our mind. Any wedding scene or a similar occasion or function means we generally listen to the tone of Shehnai in Hindi movies when there is a wedding session going on or function going on, or the second thing, the person who's playing Shehnai is Ustad Bismillah Khan. So he is considered one of the most famous Shehnai maestros in India as well as in the world. The first paragraph in this chapter we will come across the history of Shehnai. How did it come into being, and the life extracts from Ustad Bismillah Khan, means how did he become the player of Shehnai. We will read some extracts from his biography, his childhood, and then the rewards or awards he got, from whom did he learn playing Shehnai, and which milestones did he cover during his journey. All these we are going to read in this chapter. So first paragraph is the main theme of first paragraph, or I should say the main idea, central idea of the main paragraph is how was Pungi revived and got a new name. Earlier the wind instruments commonly were named as Pungi, means all the wind instruments, see the reeded wind instruments which have reeds like flute and the clarinet, they all were called Pungi. So the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb banned means prohibited the playing of a musical instrument called Pungi in royal residence, for means because it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. Shrill means very sharp, unpleasant sound. Because he didn't like that very sharp, unpleasant sound, so he banned it. He just said no, nobody will play Pungi in the royal court. Pungi became, see next line, Pungi became the generic name for reeded noise makers. The generic name means the common name for all the instruments. The common name for all the instruments like flute, the clarinet, etc. For reeded noise makers means which could produce the sounds from those hollow, you can say, reeds. Few had thought that it would one day be revived. Some people thought that Pungi would be revived and would become a better instrument. A barber of a family of professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of the Pungi. A barber of a family of professional musicians means a barber whose family members were all concerned or all related to, or all they were all professional musicians who had access to the royal palace, and they used to go to the court or the palace every now and then for playing the musical instruments, decided to improve the tonal quality of the Pungi. He once decided to improve the tonal quality, means the tunes that were produced by the Pungi, to improve those sounds by making some changes in the structure of the Pungi. He chose a pipe. For that he chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than the Pungi. So he decided to take a longer and broader hollow stem. Hollow means having empty space inside, like a hollow cylinder, and made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. And he made, you can see, imagine the bansuri, or you can say the Shehnai. There are 7 holes in it, So he made 7 holes in the body of the pipe. When he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, and soft melodious sounds were produced. He played. So what did he do? He made 7 holes in the body of that hollow stem, and he played on it, closing and opening some of those holes. Soft and melodious sounds were produced. So when he played that hollow stem, soft and melodious sounds were produced. He played the instrument before royalty, and everyone was impressed. So now the revived or the improved version of Pungi was played in front of the royal people, and everyone was impressed by the tones which were produced by the new instrument. The instrument so different from Pungi had to be given a new name, because the instrument was completely different from the Pungi. Why it was different? Because it had 7 holes in its body, so it had to be given a new name. As the story goes, since it was first played in the Shah's chambers and was played by a Nai, the instrument was named as Shehnai. See the reason, what was the name given to the instrument? The new instrument was called Shehnai. You can see the picture of the Pungi here on the screen, and Shehnai, it was completely different in shape and size. So why it got a name Shehnai? Because it was first played by a Nai. Nai means barber, and in the court of a Shehenshah. So it was given the name of Shehnai. See the usage of since. Since means here because it is preceded by a comma. If we don't get a comma here, it means since has been used as as a preposition, not a connector. Here it has been used as a conjunction. Paragraph number 2. In paragraph number 2, we find out the places where Shehnai was played. So after its invention, where was Shehnai played? It has been mentioned in the second paragraph. Let's read it out. The sound of the Shehnai began to be considered auspicious. Auspicious means promising to bring good fortune. Means it was a symbol of good luck. And for this reason, and because it was considered auspicious, it was thought to bring good luck for people. Because of this reason, it is still played in the temples and is an indispensable component of any North Indian wedding. So because it is considered auspicious, good luck, symbol of good luck, so it is generally played in the temples, as well as the indispensable means which cannot be denied, which cannot be, without which piece of work cannot be done, cannot be considered completed. So in every North Indian wedding, you will just hear the tone of Shehnai. In the past, the Shehnai was part of Naubat or traditional ensemble. See the pronunciation of the word ensemble of 9 instruments found at royal courts. In the past, the Shehnai was the part of Naubat. Nau means 9, or traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at royal courts. Means it was one of the instruments which were played in the royal courts. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. Means till recently means not a very long time ago. We are not talking about a long time ago. We are just talking about some a few years back. So it was just used in temples and wedding. The credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. Means earlier than Ustad Bismillah Khan, it was never been played on the stage for musical performances. It was only played in the temples and weddings. Got it, everyone? So the credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. We come to know, the very common people come to know about this musical instrument, and just because Ustad Bismillah Khan wrote it in front, and he just invented no tones, and he just made it over and brought it to the general public for concerts or for live music shows. Okay, paragraph number 3. In paragraph 3, 4 and in paragraph 5, we will come to know the childhood incidents of Bismillah Khan and how did he learn playing Shehnai. So let's read paragraph number 3. Bismillah's childhood. In third paragraph, we will come to know about Bismillah's childhood. As a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played gilli danda near a pond in the ancient means very old state of Dumrao in Bihar. He belonged to basically Bihar. The name of the town is Dumrao. So, as just a 5-year-old child, he used to play gilli danda in the streets of Dumrao, Bihar. He would regularly go to nearby Bihariji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing 1.25 kg, a prize given by the local Maharaja. So he would regularly go to, it was his routine. See the usage of the word would. We generally use would just to describe the routine or habit of someone. He would regularly go to nearby Bihariji temple. Bihariji means Shri Krishna temple. Sing Bhojpuri Chaita. Bhojpuri Chaita, these are the songs, or you can say religious songs in Bhojpuri, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing 1.25 kg as a prize given by local Maharaja. So he used to sing Bhojpuri Chaita in the temple every day, and once he got, as a prize, he got 1.25 kg very heavy laddu given by the local Maharaja. This happened 80 years ago, and the little boy has travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. Means the first award for singing something in front of people. He got 1.25 kgs laddu by the local Maharaja, and 80 years after that, that little boy was considered as people had started considering him the master of Shehnai. So he was given the most, or you can say the highest civilian award in India, Bharat Ratna, after 80 years of that first prize he got from the Maharaja, local Maharaja of Dumrao. Paragraph number 4, let's come to know about where was he born and how did he get acquainted with Shehnai. Born on 21st March 1916, Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. Means all his family members were musicians by profession. He was born on 21st March 1916. His grandfather, Rasul Bakhsh Khan, was the Shehnai Nawaz of Bhojpur King's Court. Means his grandfather. What was the name of his grandfather? Rasul Bakhsh Khan, the Shehnai Nawaz of Bhojpur King's Court. Means he was the royal Shehnai player in the Bhojpur King's Court. His father, Paigambar Bakhsh, and other paternal ancestors were also great Shehnai players. What was the name of his father? His father's name was Paigambar Bakhsh, and other paternal ancestors means his uncles. All his uncles were also the Shehnai players. Paragraph number 5. The young boy took to music early in life. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to the maternal uncle's house in Banaras, now Varanasi, Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncles practice the Shehnai. When he was just 3 years old, his mother took him to his brother's house, and his maternal uncle, which was in Banaras at that time, and nowadays Banaras is called Varanasi. Bismillah was fascinated, he was captivated, he was charmed watching his uncles practice the Shehnai. Means is his paternal uncles, his maternal uncles, all they used to play Shehnai. So he was fascinated watching his uncles practice the Shehnai. Soon Bismillah started accompanying his uncle Ali Bakhsh to the Vishnu temple of Banaras, where Bakhsh was employed to play the Shehnai. So soon he started going with his maternal uncle Ali Bakhsh to the temple of Vishnu in Banaras, who was employed there, who had got a job to play Shehnai in the temple. Ali Bakhsh would play the Shehnai and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. Means Ali Bakhsh would just play Shehnai and Bismillah would just listen to his Shehnai playing for a long time without stopping and without getting bored. Slowly he started getting lessons in playing the instrument, and he would sit practicing throughout the day. Slowly he started getting lessons. He started learning how to play Shehnai, and he would practice the whole day, throughout the day. For that, 4 years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangala Maiya and the banks of Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunts, where he could practice in solitude. 4 years to come, for next 4, 5 or 6 years, the young boy kept on practicing Shehnai, playing near the banks of Ganga, or we can the banks of Ganga, yes, of course. Apprentice, see, apprentice means a trainee. In which field he was getting the training? He was getting the training in playing Shehnai. So 4 years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangala Maiya and the banks of Ganga. These were the 3 places where the young boy Ustad Bismillah Khan, later he became Ustad, but he was called Bismillah Khan. He used to practice at Balaji Mandir, Mangala Maiya Mandir and the banks of Ganga. Clear, everyone? His favorite haunts means the visiting places where he could practice in solitude means loneliness, privacy, where no one would disturb him while he would practice playing Shehnai. The flowing waters of the Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of the Shehnai. The flowing water means he got motivation, inspiration from the river Ganga, and he was motivated, he was inspired to improvise, create and perform and invent new ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of the Shehnai. Means the classical ragas which were considered beyond the range of Shehnai, means nobody had ever thought that the classical ragas could be played on Shehnai. So he invented new ragas, and he created and performed very well using Shehnai there. Next, let's move to paragraph number 6. At the age of 14, Bismillah accompanied his uncle to the Allahabad Music Conference. At the end of his recital means performance, Ustad Faiz Khan patted the young boy's back and said, "Work hard and you shall make it." Means Ustad Faiz Khan was so impressed, one of the attendees of the performance, he was so impressed by the performance of Bismillah Khan that he patted his back and he said, "Work hard, keep on working hard and you shall make it." You shall make it means one day you'll become very famous. With the opening of All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah's big break. Means when the All India Radio station was set up in Lucknow in 1938, Bismillah Khan got his big break and he started playing Shehnai on All India Radio. He soon became the often heard Shehnai player on radio, and he became the often heard Shehnai player on radio from then onwards. Number 7, paragraph number 7. When India gained independence, see what would we learn in paragraph number 7? His memorable performance on India's independence. When India got independence in 15 August 1947, Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to wish the nation with his Shehnai. Means he was considered, he was given the most important place in the function, and he was asked to play Shehnai for the whole of the country. He poured his heart out into Rag Kafi from the Red Fort to an audience which included Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who were the most prominent figures listening to his Shehnai. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who was the first Prime Minister of India, who later gave his famous Triumph with the Destiny speech. And after his Shehnai playing, after his performance, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru gave his very famous speech, Triumph with Destiny speech. Paragraph number 8. Now paragraph number 8, here in this paragraph we will get his memorable performances. Where did he perform after becoming famous? Bismillah Khan, see paragraph 8, Bismillah Khan has given many memorable performances both in India and abroad. His first trip abroad was to Afghanistan, where King Jahir Shah or Jahir Shah was so taken in by the master. Taken in by means attracted or charmed by the master, means master, that he gifted him priceless Persian carpets, and other souvenirs. Souvenir means the things given in the memory of a place. Understood, everyone? So Bismillah Khan, the first performance that he gave abroad was in Afghanistan, and the king of Afghanistan was so impressed by his skill that he gifted him the priceless means very pricey, very expensive, very costly Persian carpets and other souvenirs. The king of Afghanistan was not the only one to be fascinated by Bismillah's music. Means he was not the only person who was charmed by, who was fascinated by, who was impressed by his Shehnai playing. Film director Vijay Bhatt was so impressed after hearing Bismillah play at a festival that he named a film after the instrument called Goonj Uthi Shehnai. The film was a hit, and one of the Bismillah Khan's composition, Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya, turned out to be the nationwide chart buster. Means the filmmaker Vijay Bhatt was so impressed after hearing Bismillah play at a festival that he made a film. He decided to make a film, and he made a film, Goonj Uthi Shehnai, and that movie, the chart buster, the song which became the most famous at that time, which Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya, in which we could listen to the you can say the charming Shehnai Vadan of Bismillah Khan Sahab, turned out to be the nationwide chart buster. Despite this huge success in the celluloid world, Bismillah Khan's ventures in the film music were limited to two. Means he could only do two films. Why? Vijay Bhatt's Goonj Uthi Shehnai and Vikram Srinivas Kannada movie Sanandhi Apanna. I just can't go to the terms with the artificiality and the glamour of the film world, he says with emphasis. Means he could not make up, he could not bear with the artificiality and the glamour of film world. That's why he decided to leave it, and he just came back Dumrao, and he just stayed there for the rest of his life. Paragraph number 9. See here, in paragraph number 8, we have read about two movies in which he gave the music of Shehnai, Goonj Uthi Shehnai, and the Kannada movie Sanandhi Apanna. Got it, everyone? Okay, let's move to paragraph number 9. In paragraph number 9 and 10, 11, we will talk about the awards and the honors those were conferred to him. Awards and recognition came thick and fast. Thick and fast means rapidly and in great numbers. Means many awards were conferred to Ustad Bismillah Khan, and Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to be invited to perform at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall in the United States of America. He was the first Indian ever in the history who was invited to the Lincoln Center Hall in the United States of America to perform. He also took part in the World Exposition in Montreal, in the Cannes Art Festival, in the Osaka Trade Fair. So these are two more names where he was just invited to perform. So well known did he become internationally that an auditorium in Tehran was named after him, Tahar Moziki Ustad Bismillah Khan. He became so famous that in Tehran a stadium was named after an auditorium, not stadium, an auditorium was named after his name, and the name of that auditorium is Tahar Moziki Ustad Bismillah Khan. Paragraph number 10. National awards like the Padma Shri and the Padma Bhushan and the Padma Vibhushan were conferred on him. All these great civilian awards given to civilian in India, all these three were conferred to him. In 2001, Ustad Bismillah Khan was awarded India's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna, and above all, Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan. Above all, the you can say the highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna, was given to him in 2001. With the coveted award, coveted means much desired, with rare happiness, award resting on his chest and his eyes glinting with rare happiness, he said. Means he was very, very happy after getting Bharat Ratna. And in his happiness, how did he express his happiness? Let's see. All I would like to say is, teach your children music. This is Hindustan's richest tradition. Even the West is now coming to learn our music. So when he got Bharat Ratna, all that he could say was, all I would like to say, teach your children. He just urged all the Hindustani people, all the Indians, to teach their children music. This is Hindustan's richest tradition. Even the West is now coming to learn. Means the Western people, the Western countries are also fascinated by the charm of Indian music. So they are also coming to learn our music. So we must teach our children our own music. Paragraph number 12, his love for his motherland. We will get to know. We have already got an example from here. Last lines, teach your children music. This is Hindustan's richest tradition. From this statement, you can just imagine how much did he love his tradition and his culture and his country. So again, we will get an example from paragraph number 12. In spite of having traveled all over the world, Khan Sahab means Ustad Bismillah Khan, as he is fondly means lovingly called, and is extremely fond of means likes Banaras and Dumrao, and they remain for him the most wonderful towns of the world. Means he loved Banaras and Dumrao so much that he could never go or he could never stay more than a few hours or few days out of these places. He just wanted to come back as soon as possible to these places. A student of his once wanted him to head a Shehnai school in the USA, and the student promised to recreate the atmosphere of Banaras by replicating the temples there. So it so happened once that one of his students who had learned Shehnai from him, he made a plea, he just made a request to Bismillah Khan Sahab that he should come to USA, he should settle down in USA, and he would make the atmosphere of Banaras, replicate the atmosphere of Banaras by creating the temples there, and he should settle there, and he should teach the people of, or you can say students of USA, his Shehnai playing. But he declined the offer by saying if he would be able to transport river Ganga as well. He asked his disciple, he asked his student, if you would be able to transport river Ganga in the USA. So the student had no answer to that. It means, see, his love for the river Ganga. So he could not be separated from the river Ganga and Dumrao and Banaras. This is how we can feel the extreme love of Ustad Bismillah Khan Sahab for these two towns and river Ganga. Later he is remembered to have said, that is why whenever I am in foreign country, I keep yearning to see Hindustan. Means I keep hoping that I would just go back to my country whenever I go in a foreign country. While in Mumbai, I think of only Banaras and only Ganga, and while in Banaras, I miss the unique matha of Dumrao. Means he just keep on going to Dumrao and then Banaras and then Banaras to again Dumrao, and whenever he was out of the country, he just would remember to come back to India, and when he was in Mumbai, he just would think about Banaras and Holy Ganga, and while in Banaras, he would just think of the matha. Matha means you can say buttermilk of Dumrao. See here in the box, we have been given a part of only a very short part of the interview, which was conducted by Shekhar Gupta for Reader's Digest. It is one of the most famous magazines of USA. So he conducted an interview with Khan Sahab, and when he asked a question to Bismillah Khan, when partition happened, didn't you and your family think of moving to Pakistan? Means he just wanted to know, you are a Muslim, so when the partition happened in 1947, didn't your family think to move to Pakistan? See what beautiful answer that Khan Sahab gave. God forbid. Means in his language he would have said, Toba Toba, me leave Banaras Me, can you think of me leaving Banaras? Never, never, not at all. I cannot even think about it. I went to Pakistan once. I crossed the border just to say I have been to Pakistan. Means I just got a chance to go to Pakistan once, and I did go there just to have been to Pakistan, just to say, so that I can tell people, yes, once in my life I had also been to Pakistan, I had also gone to Pakistan. I was there for about an hour, and it was just an hour stay there. I said namaskar to the Pakistanis and salam alaikum to the Indians. I had a good laugh. So this is how, again, we have got an example how much did he love India, and he was patriot from the bottom of his heart. Last paragraph of the chapter. Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example of the rich cultural heritage of India, one that effortlessly accepts that a devout Muslim like him can very naturally play the Shehnai every morning at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. See, in any of the parts of Bismillah Khan, we never got a hint that he was a Muslim and he was somehow different or some way different from the Hindus. No, not at all. Not a single incident has been we will find from his biography or from his life journey. He was a true Indian by the bottom of his heart. See here, Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example of the rich cultural heritage of India, one of that effortlessly accept that that a devout Muslim like him can very naturally play the Shehnai. Means he was a Muslim and still he could play Shehnai every morning in the Kashi Vishwanath temple. Yeah, people had accepted it. Can just happen in the country like India, where people are so liberal that we accept all the people, whether they belong to any other community or religion. We just are so wonderful people that we live all together in this country, and there is no difference on the basis of religion, caste or creed or other communal differences. So instead of despite being Muslim, he every day he would play Shehnai in the Kashi Vishwanath temple. Ustad Bismillah Khan passed away on 21st August 2006 at the age of 90 after a prolonged, means very long, illness. He was given a state funeral. State funeral means the public funeral in which the government generally holds the ceremony for the people or of national worth or the heroes or national heroes. So he was given a state funeral, and the government of India declared one day of national mourning. Grieving means one day was declared as national mourning in the remembrance of that great soul. Let's move to the question answer segment. I hope you people can see on the screen I have already underlined the answers or put the tick marks on the answers, relevant answers. And segment number 3, answer these questions in 30 to 40 words. I have mentioned the paragraphs. You can find out the answers in these in these mentioned paragraphs. And then thinking about the language, 2 plus first form you have to fill here in all the blanks. So it is very easy. You people will be able to fill them very easily. Later on I'll also send you a pic of the answer of this question. Segment number 2 on page number 26. Segment number 2, you have to give one word to these phrases. I have in the text while teaching you the chapter, I have already made those words in yellow, so you can see the words which you find in yellow color in the text. See, thick and fast I have here. I have already just underlined those in yellow color, so you can find out the answers from there. Next part is, again I have underlined the answers, you can see very clearly. And that's all for the day. I hope you will complete your chapter today. Thank you very much.